My husband, he does it brilliantly. He can do all the voices.
Almost 30 years ago, Queen Camilla and Andrew Parker Bowles ended their marriage in a controversial divorce. At 85, Andrew Parker Bowles is speaking out about the divorce. His story is more personal and surprising than many expected. What happened behind the scenes? What part did Queen Camilla play in their marriage troubles? Let's explore the hidden truth from someone who experienced it all. Andrew Parker's shocking revelation. Andrew Parker Bowles has finally explained why his marriage to Queen Camilla ended. His account changes what many have believed for decades. After nearly 30 years of silence, he revealed the reason for their 1995 divorce had little to do with Prince Charles and more to do with the woman Camilla became. This new perspective reshapes our understanding of a significant royal relationship. The story seemed clear for years. Camilla's heart belonged to Prince Charles. However, this new version reveals that Camilla was initially engaged to Andrew, but ultimately, her love for Charles won out. People viewed Andrew as a respectful man who stepped aside, allowing Camilla to follow her path. They saw him as the one left behind by a woman caught between duty and desire. Their 1995 divorce seemed like a logical end to a complicated love triangle. There was no public drama or loud arguments, just a quiet ending to a marriage unable to withstand the pressure of royal life. Most believed Andrew accepted this gracefully, as any dignified man would. He stayed silent while Camilla built her life with Charles, and the world moved on, confident they understood the situation. However, this neat narrative didn't reveal the full extent of Andrew's struggle. He bore his pain in silence for years, never sharing his feelings. He remained quiet while the world formed its conclusions and created a narrative that barely scratched the surface of his emotional turmoil. Now, Andrew has broken his silence. In a recent private interview, he shared that Prince Charles was never the issue. If it had only been about Charles, he could have accepted it. The real problem was deeper, how Camilla changed as a person. Andrew spoke with reflection, not anger, as he finally shared his truth. His revelation isn't about revenge or altering history to hurt anyone. It's about lifting a burden he carried quietly while the world moved on. Andrew's account changes how we view him and offers a new understanding of how their marriage fell apart. For the first time, we hear from the man often seen as a background character in a royal love story. He illustrates how people can change, how ambition can shape individuals, and how one can lose something valuable beyond love, all with a sincere and non-revengeful tone. This new perspective is more personal and human, reminding us that public figures have private lives. When we consider Andrew's side, we realize that his relationship with Camilla was never just about Charles. It was about how they grew apart emotionally and in their worldviews. As Andrew reflects on their early relationship, we see that their story didn't unravel suddenly. It started beautifully, but cracks formed beneath the surface even then. This is just the beginning. The next part of the story will dive deeper into Andrew and Camilla's relationship, showing us when things looked perfect. Still, something crucial was already slipping away, creating a sense of anticipation for the next part of their story. Stay tuned. The story is just getting started. Andrew Parker Bowles' marriage to Queen Camilla. In the late 1960s, Andrew Parker Bowles and Camilla Shand seemed like the perfect couple. Their relationship was what every British high society family wanted. Two well-bred, well-connected young people stepping into a glamorous life. He wore a military uniform and had a strong jawline. She was charming, witty, and free-spirited, making her stand out among stiff aristocrats. From the outside, they looked like an ideal match. Their smiles filled social media, showcasing happy moments at polo matches and garden parties. They always appeared polished and promising. Andrew's military career was rapidly advancing. People admired his discipline and leadership. He carried himself confidently and became a respected figure in the British Army, which made him more attractive. Camilla was not just a supporter, she was intelligent and quick-witted. Her humor brightened the room. She didn't follow royal rules or old traditions, making others feel at ease in stiff environments. Together, they fit well. Once married, they dove deeper into their high society world filled with titles and expectations. Their early married life featured privilege and luxury. They attended royal events, hosted elegant dinners, and mingled with powerful families in Britain. They raised their children with every comfort and opportunity. To the outside world, their life seemed picture-perfect. However, their home life was not as smooth as it appeared. From the start, Andrew struggled with loyalty. His affairs were not hidden, even if they were never confirmed. People talked in their social circles. Camilla knew about his infidelities, even if she rarely spoke about them. Beyond Andrew's flaws, there was a deeper complication. Camilla's emotional ties to Prince Charles were not just nostalgia. They meant she entered the marriage while still emotionally attached to someone else. This invisible connection to Charles existed throughout their relationship, creating a constant emotional strain. Before marrying Andrew, Camilla was emotionally tied to someone else, Prince Charles. Their connection was not a brief fling. Even when it officially ended, her feelings for him lingered. She may have married Andrew, but never fully let go of Charles. This was not just nostalgia, it meant entering a marriage while still attached to someone emotionally. That invisible connection existed throughout their relationship. Early in their marriage, Andrew noticed unsettling signs. Letters came and went privately. Phone calls happened behind closed doors with soft voices speaking words he shouldn't hear. And some royal invitations seemed meant for her alone. These signs, which hinted at Camilla's ongoing emotional connection to Prince Charles, constantly reminded them of their emotional distance. At first, he tried to ignore these signs. Their busy lives and young children required composure. Yet, the signs could not be overlooked forever. Even though they smiled at social gatherings and appeared together at events, something was wrong. There was a growing emotional distance between them that could not be closed. Andrew was involved in doing his part, but he often felt like he was reaching across an ever-widening space. They did not argue constantly, and there was no constant conflict. The issue was quieter. They felt like two people living side by side but no longer moving together. Over the years, they raised their two children and maintained their status and the expected image. They played every role assigned to them: hosts, parents, military spouses, and aristocratic couples. But beneath the formal smiles and polite talks, they both realized their marriage was slipping into something else. What happened next surprised the British public. Their relationship was no longer a real partnership. It had become more of a performance. It relied on family names, social roles, and a shared commitment to publicly hiding their problems. Even as they continued with their royal connections and traditions, things began to fall apart behind closed doors. Their home was no longer a place of comfort, but a space where each person lived separate emotional lives. The connection that once made them charming as a couple was fading. They were both present physically, but not always emotionally. They had the house, the children, and a public image. But the warmth that held everything together was vanishing. Still, they moved forward. In their world, people did not walk away from marriage. They did not talk about emotions or show their unhappiness. They held the line. That was the expectation. But having the line does not mean everything is fine. Sometimes it means no one is looking closely enough to see what is happening. The truth is, even before the rumors of affairs became public, their marriage had already started to lose its foundation. Unspoken feelings, emotional silence, and two different paths had taken their toll. What was once a real connection faded into an arrangement of roles and appearances. This was not just about a marriage breaking down due to cheating. It was about the unmaking of something that looked strong but had weakened for years. While Andrew remained silent through it all, what he experienced during those early years influenced how he viewed everything that followed. Now, as he shares more profound truths, we begin to see that the love story everyone thought they understood started to crumble long before the world noticed. As we move to the next part of this story, we will explore the changes he saw in Camilla, not just as a wife, but as a woman stepping into a new version of herself, one that would leave their marriage behind for something bigger. Stay tuned. His revelations will change everything you know about Queen Camilla. Queen Camilla and Prince Charles. To understand the breakdown in Queen Camilla's marriage to Andrew Parker Bowles, we should look at another troubled marriage, Prince Charles and Princess Diana. Although the public saw Charles and Diana's marriage as a fairy tale, it was falling apart behind closed doors. The couple grew distant, which became harder to hide. Their body language at events was tense, and they followed separate schedules that kept them apart. Rumors started to circulate, turning casual whispers into major headlines. Diana struggled with the pressures of royal life, while Charles withdrew emotionally, seeking comfort in familiar things over love or duty. In this emotional retreat, Charles turned to the one person who always understood him, Camilla Parker Bowles. To Charles, Camilla was more than just a friend. She was his anchor. As his marriage fell apart, he leaned on her more. What had been a secret affair began to emerge into the open. Andrew Parker Bowles, Camilla's husband, started to see her as his wife, and as someone who was changing into a different person. As rumors about Diana's marriage spread, Camilla's connection to Charles grew stronger. What was once hidden became more visible, and Andrew was among the first to notice. Camilla was transforming. Known for her wit and playful attitude, she began to lose her carefree nature. Instead, she became focused and careful in her words and decisions. The most surprising change was how Camilla started to navigate the royal system she once mocked. She began to form connections in royal circles and built relationships with people, shaping public perception. She took meetings with press officials and palace aides, understanding that to stand by Charles, she needed to fit into his world instead of resisting it. Andrew couldn't ignore these changes in their home anymore. He found neatly organized folders with newspaper articles, notes about upcoming events, and guest lists. Camilla was no longer reacting to events, she was planning them. The woman who once disliked the spotlight now knew when and where to be for the perfect photo. This transformation deeply affected Andrew. The warmth they once shared turned cold. Their conversations grew strained and their shared humor faded. Even in private, a distance developed. He felt like a background character in Camilla's life. Late-night phone calls replaced quiet time together, and hurried exits became common. Camilla had emotionally distanced herself from him and changed the dynamics of their marriage without informing him. For Andrew, this shift represented a loss, not just of love, but of identity. He was no longer her partner, he had become something different. He no longer recognized the woman he woke up to each day. She was now driven by ambition and power instead of connection and emotion. Even with this understanding, the pain remained. Memories of their past lingered, but he could no longer ignore the truth. Their private world had expanded into something much larger, and he no longer fit into it. As Andrew moved on from this chapter of his life, he experienced heartbreak and the clarity of truth. Now, years later, he wants people to see the real woman behind the crown, not just the headlines, but the choices that changed their lives forever. However, this was not the end of Andrew Parker Bowles' story. Stay tuned for more details about his life after Camilla. Andrew Parker Bowles' life after divorce from Queen Camilla. When the media attention faded, Andrew Parker Bowles stepped back from the troubles of his marriage to Camilla. He did not give interviews, write revealing books, or make negative comments to the press. Instead, he chose silence. This silence showed dignity, not weakness. People close to the royal family believed keeping quiet was best for everyone, especially concerning the royals' reputation. When Andrew and Camilla's divorce was finalized in 1995, it was low-key. No scandal, no blame, just a simple ending to a public story. Andrew had strong ties to the royal family, but after the divorce, he disappeared from the public eye. He started a quieter life, remarried, and focused on his family and military career. Friends say he began to relax during this time. Away from scrutiny, he found peace in ordinary moments that didn't require attention. For Andrew, healing did not come from being in the spotlight, but from stepping away and allowing time to help. Over the years, he watched Camilla take a path he never expected since they first met. With each move into royal life, she seemed to change, shaped by the pressures of power. He realized these changes might have affected who she was. Her transformation was about more than titles. It was about surviving in a world that does not forgive. To Andrew, the woman he once knew felt like a distant memory. Decades later, he shares his story, not out of anger or a desire for attention, but because some truths must be told before they are forgotten. His quiet presence over the years has hidden the reality of his experiences and what the royal situation meant. It was not just about love or betrayal. It involved hard choices, ambitious ties, and untold parts of the story. Even now, rumors still float around. Many blame Camilla for the end of her marriage to Andrew and Charles and Diana's breakup. Some still see her as the woman who disrupted two relationships, while others have grown more forgiving. Yet, the memories of those broken marriages linger. People believe forgiveness takes time, but memories stay. Camilla's name remains tied to royal heartaches. What do you think about Andrew Parker Bowles' marriage to Queen Camilla? Share your thoughts in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel if you liked this video. Also, click on the following video on your screen to enjoy more content.